Hey, what's happening? I'm Troy, and I came up with this idea to do a little video. That way you can kind of get a little advance notice and learn a little bit about it, and you can revisit it in case you forget something. You can check the video and figure it out. So pretty easy. This is a E450 Winnebago. Not rocket science, you know, it's old school. So got the cruise control, got a phone holder there. There'll be an Apple cord you can plug in, so you can have your navigation and be charged up. We'll just do a walk around this whole thing. Here's a compartment with some wood, some firewood. There's a little charcoal in there, a couple of little fire logs. I usually, put some wood in here. If you use some up, it'd be nice if you put it back. We'll close this up, give it a little twist. Next compartment, this is the generator. You won't need to get in here for any reason, but in case you do, that's where it's at. This is where the the furnace is for hot water and whatnot. If the pilot light ever goes out, which it probably shouldn't ever do, it's only gone out like once, this is where you would relight it with a little stick lighter, right here. Getting into this, here's the 30 amp cord, and if you go to an RV spot with hookups, this is where you're gonna unplug it from the motorhome here. When you're not plugged in, you want to make sure that this is plugged into the motorhome, because this is what connects the power in the rig to the generator. So, but when you do have hookups, unplug it, yank it out. If you need an adapter, there's a 30 to a 50. Probably shouldn't need that. But that's where that is. This is also, plug that back in. This is also where the cable is. So if you're hooked up to hookups and they have cable, there's a little cable nub right inside here, right here on the wall. You don't need to see it. It's just a little cable nub, and you plug in the cable and you run the cable from, if you have hookups, they'll have your power and water and all on a hub. You just run a cable, which is stored back there, and you hook it right into here. Gas cap, locking gas cap. There's a tiny little key on the keychain that will get that locking gas cap. This is the super fun stuff. Let's get this out of the way. This is the septic. Now, when you empty the septic, it'll be empty when you get the rig, and it needs to be empty when you bring it back. There's an add-on. If you don't want to do it, you just don't want to deal with it, there's an add-on that you can pay, and I'll do it for you. But there's a process to it and a step-by-step thing. What you need to do, you're going to get this little rack holder. This little rack holder will put the downslope down to where the septic is, which if you're parked at an RV spot or a dumping station, it'll be right to your left side, the driver's side. Septic hose. This, the clear end, will go into the hole there, the septic, and this is going to lay on the track. Nice downslope. Sometimes there's a rock here. People like to put a rock over the top of it just to make sure it doesn't pop out or anything. Now here's the steps, right? This lid right here is the septic lid. That's the first thing you're going to do, is remove that. When you remove that, there's going to be a splash. No way around it. It's going to be a splash. Prepare for it. Open it up, pull your hand back, let it splash, because it's going to happen. There's all that's holding that is just little trap doors, and those trap doors are not necessarily going to stop every bit of leakage, because when you're jostling around and the motorhome's going around, there's just going to be leakage. That's it. So, 1, release the cap, let it splash. 2, connect this, okay? Twist it on, connect it. Make sure that end is into the septic, into the hole. Sometimes there's a little trap door. Open the trap door, put that in. Now, the next thing you're going to do, this top lever right here is the black water. The black water is the sewage. That's the toilet stuff, right? And what you're going to do, once you're in there, you're ready to pull this. When you pull it out, it'll all come rushing out and into the septic. That's 1. 2, this is the sink and shower, and called the gray water. You're going to pull that. That's going to go all rushing out of there. And the reason why you do this one second is because the water washes out the sewage, so you don't have a smelly hose and or anything left, any debris left in the hose. This washes it out. When it's all done, push this back in, and you can shove it in and out a couple times. Sometimes a piece of toilet paper might get caught in there, whatever. Anyway, shove it in, make sure it's nice and tight, and then you're going to shove this one in, make sure it's nice and tight, and then you're going to take this lid and you're going to put it right back on. After you disconnect, of course. Disconnect, and then put that lid back on. Then you're going to just put this away. And it goes right here in this little basket. Same with this rack. Right here in the little basket. Close it up. You're done. That's the septic. This area here is just where the rack and the septic hose is kept. Here's some jumper cables, and that cable TV cable that I was telling you about is right in this bucket. This blue thing is one of those canopies. We got a couple outdoor chairs, a couple event chairs, and this big black thing right here. This is one of those great big chairs you can sit in, like put your kids in, and you put 3 people in it, and it's kind of fun. It's just a novelty fun thing. And that's that. Come around. So speaking of septic, this is where you can find the chem. Now this chems, after every time you empty a septic, you dump this right into the toilet. Lid, pull the thing, dump it right into the toilet, and then pull the flusher a little bit, put a little water in there. That's it. Easy peasy. This is where, speaking of water, this is where we keep the hose and some bungee cords and an extension cord for no particular reason, really. Bungee cords, sometimes you want to put up some party lights or strap something to the ladder or the big basket that we have sometimes. The event chairs, we'll just show you this here. So when you fill up with water, you stick just a little about that much of the hose into here. There's just a hole there. Open it up, stick this in, connect this water to your water source. So if you're a place with hookups, you connect it to the water source, turn it on. You have this already stuck in here. Just let it run. When you see it, when you see it spill out all over the ground, it's full. Then roll the hose back up, put it back in here. There's a little lighter fluid in here and a couple of little, propane gas tanks too, which are handy for starting fire. If you're gonna do a little campfire thing, you can hook up a little torch to one of those cans and just have at it. Little outdoor power, and in case you're at an RV hookup and you want to plug something in, party lights or something, you can do that. This out here to finish up the outside bit, this is where you turn on the gas. And so just crank it all the way to the left, turn it on, your gas is on. Here's a little monitor right here. When it's full, it's only going to say 3/4 because by law you can't fill. They won't fill it up any more than to 3/4. That's what full means. Then now when you're driving, keep it shut off. And the reason for that is you don't want to be driving and like, oh, I need to get gas, and you pull into a gas station and your tank is on. You don't want to do that. So shut it off when you're parked. Turn it on. That runs it can run the refrigerator, it can run the furnace, it can run the stove, and it can run the hot water heater. And that's all this gas right here. Pretty easy to fill up too. If you're at a RV place or any place that you see one of those big white tanks, is pretty much a place where you can get filled up. And it doesn't cost much and it doesn't take long. Just you're at an RV place and you say, hey, I need to fill up my propane, my gas, and then they'll steer you in the right direction. This right here, this compartment here, this is where, see this little pocket here? These go on the doors, passenger and driver side. On the outside, you just put the pocket on there and you flip this over the top of the windshield, and that's for privacy. For privacy and for not at nighttime, you want to put that up. There's a few tools in here that you probably shouldn't need for any reason. There's a couple flares in here, also probably shouldn't need for any reason. Here's a little torch thing you can put on that gas tank to start your fire if you want. And there's a tarp in here and a couple like roadside reflector things. That's about it. The crank here for to do the awning, which is going to be a separate video because it's a whole thing in itself. But this is where you keep it, and this is what you need to put out the awning if you want to. There's that. Now, go inside. So we'll have clean sheets, of course. There's a big turnover where we clean and sanitize everything. Clean sheets, pillows. We got some closets here. Got a shower here. I usually will have a cooler in here. It's good to throw some stuff in there in a bag of ice in case you're doing the full autonomy thing and you're not plugged in and you don't want to use up all your gas. Just use the cooler, This hot water, this thing will get hot in about 15 minutes. And all you have to do is make sure your gas is on outside, and you turn this on. Water heater, says water heater. Flick that on and you'll hear it go. You'll hear it light, and then it'll start cooking the water. And it takes about 15 minutes, and then you're good to go with hot water. Water pump, when you need to use your water for shower, sink, toilet, you turn that on right there, and you'll hear, you usually hear it go brrr, when it needs to fill up with water. This, I will turn this off now. Oh, it's on now, and you can hear it. And when you turn on the water, it keeps pumping back in to keep the pressure up. So that's off now. Now it's off. This is a level test here. It shows you the holding tank, the fresh water, the gas, and the battery. Sometimes when it says the holding tank, it looks a little bit full. It's not when you just pick it up. Sometimes a little piece of toilet paper get hung up on the sensor and it'll show full when it's actually not. Stove, pilot light, make sure your gas is on. Pilot light, use the clicker right here. Light the pilot light, turn on the stove. Same thing underneath. There's a little place right there in the center, in the bottom here. Take these pans out, and then again, there's an oven. Turn it on to pilot light on. Click it. Turn it on. Let it fire up, and it'll go. You know, it'll fire up. Pretty easy. Microwave works when the generator is on. It'll work when the generator's on, and it'll work if you're plugged into power. You know, this is when you turn on the generator, you need to just hit it a couple times, once or twice. It's sometimes if it's slow to start, it just means it needs a little extra juice, and you can plug in the start the engine. That helps. Hood light, fan, and the microwave. Great. Here is the refrigerator. Now the refrigerator is, when you get plugged in, it'll be cold when you get it, because I'll have it plugged in. But you know, if you're out opening the door and you're parked and you're not plugged in, you need to be set to gas, so it automatically transfers from gas to power, or power to gas, and stays cool. If you turn it on, it's not going to get cool right away. It takes a long time as a refrigerator. You know, it takes a long time to get cold. But it'll be cold when you start out. Freezer, good. Just like an Airbnb, you know, if there's something in here, means you can use it. You can use it. You can have it. You can eat it. You can drink it. Whatever. And this is where, again, we haven't. We're just doing the reset right now. This will all be cleaned and sorted and organized. Same with your, you know, dishes and pots and pans and glasses and whatnot. Same up here. Got a little picnic table cover. Jenga, of course, you're going to need that. Some batteries. This will fold out. This folds out into a bed. Pretty easy. Just pull it out and it comes right out. Same with this. You can flip this bottom leg up, flick the leg up, pull it down, and then push these cushions out, and then you've got another bed here. And then there's another bed right there, a little bunk bed action. That's all good. And you can put some sheets up there and whatnot. There'll be pillows, and there's always another set of clean sheets. This is where the television is, and when you're plugged into cable, you just find it on the menu here. Menu, cable, and then you'll have your channels. If you want to do a search and you don't have cable and you want to watch TV or try to watch TV, you roll this down. So right now it's all the way down. This is the antenna. And what you do is you just crank it up all the way up, and you're literally cranking up the antenna by hand. And then you can do here, and on the menu here is to, you know, air search, and it'll search to see if there's any channels. There may not be any, depending on where you are, but you need to definitely make sure you put this down before you go anywhere, and just crank it down, and you should be able to hear it flop back on the roof. See? You can hear that. Just make sure it's tight and down. That's good. What else? Here's silverware and can opener, bottle opener, spatula, cheese grater. You know, get crazy with it. Some extra stuff. Little cords, you know, shopping bag, little apple box. Down here. Keep a couple storage bags here, you know, a shopping bag. This is a cold storage bag. There's also a blender down here, you know, when it's margarita time, obviously. Once you're, you know, parked and set up. I think that's about it. You know, if you have any questions, you know, you call me, 310-990-2117. 310-990-2117. Call me, text me. Say, hey, how do you do this? Or, hey, I need some help, and I will always do my best to get back to you or answer as soon as possible. Other than that, the only other rules I really have are, have fun and don't hit anything.